kids right here have heard of Montezuma?
Only my kids. No, I'm just joking.
Oh, really? Well, this is good because parents have heard, I don't know if they've actually heard of Montezuma, but they've definitely heard of his revenge. And this is the story explaining what Montezuma's revenge is all about. You see, on very surface terms and fun terms, see, Montezuma was this Aztec emperor, and at the time when the Spanish had come over on these big sailboats from Europe, and it was the first time Europeans had ever been to America. And you could imagine the Aztec Indians that were standing there waiting. They were like, "What the school buses?" And when the Spanish came off, well, Montezuma had read inside the books, and it said that this returning God was going to come, and he was going to come and destroy everything. So Montezuma was so scared about this, and so he decided, okay, we're going to try to give them everything they want. And so Montezuma had sent all of his good people with these presents, and he gave them the best things that he thought, okay, take that and that and that. And what they had as a present for the Spaniards was a big plate of all these native foods that had come from Mexico. All these avocados and tomatoes and potatoes and all sorts of foods that Cortez, the guy that arrived, didn't know what they were. And they offered it to him, and he was just like, he started eating. What is this? Oh, this is amazing. Oh, he ate it all. And Montezuma was so happy because he was like, oh, cool, maybe they're not going to destroy our whole world like the books say. So he kept giving him more food. But after a while, Cortez was like, food is not what I'm looking for. It's gold what I'm looking for. And once Cortez found out that Montezuma actually had a lot of gold, well, he ended up pretending to be his friend, and behind his back he had his sword, and he ended up betraying Montezuma. In Mexico, first thing I did when I lived in Mexico, they used to tell me, all my Mexican friends used to tell me about how poor Montezuma, they would say, pobre, pobre Montezuma. And I said, why? And they said, well, because Cortez, the guy that said he was his friend, they ended up burning his feet because he wouldn't tell him where all the gold was. Montezuma's like, I'm not going to tell you where the gold is. So they took him to the fire and burned his feet. And in Mexico, they say, oh, Montezuma ended up dying because of the betrayal. But although he died, they say that Montezuma still has his revenge today. And he says any visiting strangers that go to Mexico, they end up getting this Montezuma's revenge. And Montezuma's revenge is kind of funny. That's why you see the parents going. Does anybody know what Montezuma's revenge is?
No.
Oh, yeah. Montezuma's revenge is when you eat your good, delicious Mexican food. Oh, it's delicious when you go to Mexico. And suddenly your stomach goes. What the? And then next thing you know, you're running for the bathroom. Oh my gosh, oh my God. Because Montezuma's revenge is diarrhea. So here's the story of Cortez and Montezuma and his revenge. Well, a long time ago, in a place called Mexico, came a white man. They traveled from Spain, the name of their king. They aimed to conquer the land. When they arrived, they were awfully surprised. The Aztecs were waiting for them. Well, Cortez stepped forth, he was hiding his sword. He said, tranquilos, we come as a friend. Well, the Aztecs, they cheered and their leader appeared. Montezuma, gentle king. Well, he looked at Cortez and he bowed his head. He said, I know you from my dreams, but you say you're my friend, so I offer my hand, my friendship to you. Now please have a seat, together we'll eat. And they brought in the Aztec food. Oh, there was chilies, tomatoes, avocados, potatoes, golden yellow corn. There was chocolates, vanilla, strawberries, papayas, pineapples, peanuts, and more. pleased to see his friends eat. He was proud of his native food. Then he said, hey, it's become very late. Won't you be leaving soon? But Cortez, he said, no, 'cause our boats are all broke. And don't you have any extra room, muchacho? Montezuma said, yes, you are my guest. Mi casa, su casa too. Well, so that's how it went. Old Cortez and his men were treated like kings. But it wasn't so long before it all went wrong. In the house, Cortez noticed some things we noticed. Gold in the drawer on the shelf, there was more. The walls were full of this stuff. The old story goes, well, with some men see gold, well, enough is never enough. Well, Montezuma will have his revenge. Well, this very day, every stranger will pay who comes to visit the land. Let me tell you what happened. Cortez wanted gold. Montezuma said, no, I think you're taking enough. Well, they took him by sword and they threw him to the floor. They said, you're gonna tell us where there's more stuff, amigo. Well, they called him a liar, drug his feet to the fire. Montezuma, he screamed out in pain, and with tears in his eyes, broken hearted, he died. Then Cortez stole everything. Well, Montezuma will have his revenge. Well, this very day, every stranger will pay who calls to visit the land. Well, this very day, every stranger will pay who calls to visit the land. Well, Mexico, Mexico. Now, when all your mommies and daddies were in college, they would get a thing called spring break. And the place that they would head down to is Mexico. And they would be down there drinking lime juice and all sorts of great stuff, eating that good Mexican food. But somewhere in the back of their head, they remembered that story of Montezuma. You can eat good food, but remember if you do the history of this song. Well, if you get sick, it's so you don't forget the way Montezuma was wrong. Well, burritos y tacos, tostadas y nachos, yes, it's tasty for you and your friends. It puts your stomach in motion, you feel an explosion. There goes your underpants. Well, that's Montezuma's revenge.